But when you came in, I think you tweeted about that you were at a convention and you saw me met up, and people kind of jumped to the conclusion, is CB trying to recruit John Byrne back into Marvel? I mean, were you there as a fan? Were you there as editor-in-chief? A little bit of both?
Both, a little bit of both. I make no bones about it. Make no bones about it. I'm a huge John Byrne fan. I grew up a John Byrne fan. It was the first comic I ever read was a John Byrne comic, and I bumped into John, and I know he was working on X-Men Elsewhere at that point, and we spoke, and we took that photo, and he put it online. And we were positive at that point that we were going to be able to work together on some stuff. I am still hopeful that someday John will come back and do some work for Marvel. When that will be and in what way, shape, or form that will be, I'm not really sure. But it's an ongoing conversation between John and I. It blows my mind every now and then. I get an email in my inbox that pops up with John Byrne on it and my name, and he's actually addressing me as a human being. He actually. I grew up in the hometown where John lives.
Oh, yeah.
So I knew where his house was when I was a kid, and we would drive by like, oh, that's John Byrne's house. And we were never bold enough to go up and knock on the door and say hello. And I recently got to visit his home. He's living in a different town now. And I told him, I'm like, John, the 6-year-old in me is blown away. And he walked me through his art collection and pages and original art. And it's a thrill for me, and I hope to be someday that we're not just talking about working together, that we actually are working together.
I feel like recently, really in the past year or so, I mean, you've got this new Wolverine anthology book. Larry Hamill has been working on it. Chris Claremont's writing X-Men stories again. And to be honest, I felt like for a long time, DC was doing more of that. Let's get the veterans. I mean, Len Wein had worked there in his later years. Jerry Conway's had worked there. Is that something that you've kind of dedicated yourself to? You mentioned at the beginning of this interview about looking to the past. I mean, are you trying to recruit some of those veterans back in and finding them projects to work on at Marvel?
Yeah, without a doubt. And we've been having them come back now and work on what we call it collectively the M80s, the Marvel 80th anniversaries, which are a collection, kind of collections of some of the past creators coming back and telling shorter stories. And there's going to be more coming with Louise Simonson and June Brigham coming back to do Power Pack. Yeah. Claremont and Sienkiewicz are coming back to do a New Mutant special. There's a couple more at the tail end of the year that we're going to be doing that we're really excited about. And I don't want this to be the last time that a lot of those guys work for Marvel. I want them to know that these books and these stories that we offered them were getting them to walk back in the door. And they have every opportunity to contribute new stories, not just from the eras of the times that they were writing, but new stuff to Marvel. Because, again, that goes back to what you said, like when I was coming in, let's look to the past to go to the future. And these people, even though they were part of Marvel's past, can now also be a part of our future. They have so much knowledge to learn in terms of storytelling. That they can help contribute to new writers as well. And I think using them for not just their storytelling abilities, but for their knowledge of how to tell stories and what Marvel editorial was in the past is also a good way to learn, teach by example, for some of the new generation that's coming up.
All right, the last thing I want to ask about, recently I had a chance to talk a little bit with Mr. Neil Gaiman, and he had said that they're finally at the point, New Miracle Man is being worked on, Mark Buckingham is drawing pages, and we did a little story about the CBR, and I got the loveliest no comment email I've ever gotten from David Gabriel about this. Yep. So I'm coming, throw a dog a bone. Have you gotten to the point you're discussing scheduling new issues, or is it just in terms of you're letting them work?
We're letting them work. Okay. David gave you no comment. I'll have to give you no comment. But all I can say is that, yes, New Miracle Man material is being worked on by Neil and Mark Buckingham. And when we're going to see that, I couldn't tell you specifically, but we will see it.
Well, have a great rest of your show, sir. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Appreciate it.
We'll have more from Comic-Con on CBR.